Welcome back to the Junk Room. It's noon. It's time for a Junkman Nooner. Things are going to be a little different today. We're not talking movies. We're not talking toys. We're talking about somebody you don't even know, my grandfather. Now, sometimes I have to put a video out there where I just feel like I have to get off my chest and I just have to do the video. Although I think just the title alone, a lot of people won't click on it. But, as you get older, you start thinking back to stuff when you're growing up. And my grandfather, who I spent a lot of time with growing up, as you've heard me talk about my grandmother and my grandfather, I'd go there most every weekend, and that's where I kept my Star Wars toys. Me and my brothers would go there and play Star Wars once he got too big to hang out over there. I'd go there myself, play with He-Man and everything, and have a good old time. We would, maybe it's another thing, we would start a fire, but we would call it burning trash. I don't know why we always called it that. We'd be burning trash, and it's always nice. I can remember sitting in their living room drinking an ice cold Coca-Cola in a glass of bottle, watching Sanford and Son. Good times, good time. But my grandpa would always give me advice throughout my years. Some of it I probably went over my head, some of it I don't remember, but there was some of them that stuck with me, and I've used as I got older, and some of them I didn't, or maybe I should have. And I thought it would be fun to go over at least 10 of the advice he's given me that I kind of remember and I still think about today. Now, I was going to list these 10 in best order, starting with the worst at number 10 and probably the best at number 1. And I thought, no, let's do it in a different order. Let's do it as I was told him. As when I was a little kid, when he was probably about my age now. Some advice he gave me to when he was his last year of life. The number 1 on this list will be one that he gave me, I guess you could say, on his deathbed. But although it looked like a regular bed, I know I heard some people in the family say it was his deathbed, but it looked just like a regular bed to me. So that should be a lot of fun. Now, before we get started, I want to tell you we got a new shirt at junkmanmerch.com, and all shirts are on sale this week for $13. That's right, $13. So be sure you check that out. Now, I don't know when you're watching this video, so they might not be on sale, but head over to junkmanmerch.com and see if they're on sale. I think you'll like the Terminator shirt, so let's just get through with this. Let's start this top 10 list with number 10 advice my grandfather gave me that I still think about today. Take time to get to know yourself, not just others. Man, isn't that some good advice right there? We can all think of that. You got to know yourself. It's good to take time to get to know, some new friends or something, or some coworkers, but you got to take time to get to know yourself also. Yes, you do. You have to. That's some good advice right there. Number 9. Only take with you what you can carry yourself. To be honest with you, I don't even know what that one means. But I always felt it was like some good advice. If I could figure it out, I would say, man, that is good advice right there. But I'm not really sure what it means. Maybe you guys can tell me right there. Okay, where we at now? Number 8. If it ain't at Sears, it ain't worth having. Now, that's some good advice right there. Remember that. If you can't buy it at Sears, it's not even worth buying, right? Now, of course, this gave me this back in the 80s, and it's not real. I guess there's Sears today, but you really don't. You'll have better luck seeing 2 Indians walking down the road than you were. Oh, excuse me. You would have better luck seeing 2 Native Americans walking down the road than you were seeing a Sears in business. But hey, you might get lucky in your town. And see a Sears. Who knows? But that's some good advice. Like I said, I don't know if it holds up today, but I still think about it. Number 7. There's only 3 things you need in life: a good shovel, a good hoe, and a good old plow mule. A good shovel, a hoe, get your mind out of the gutter. We're talking about the ones you use in the garden. And an old plow mule. I'll be honest, I don't think I have any of these. My grandpa will be let down. I don't have any of those things. Where are we at now? Number 6. One I still live by today, probably. Don't give a shit and take very little. That one I have to agree with. That's on the list. That's probably the one advice that I still tell myself every day. Don't give a shit and take very little. Oh my God. Where'd that card go? That card's all in my back and shit. Okay. Sorry about that. It's all in my back and everything. Number 5. Always take extra rubbers with you, even if it's not raining. I didn't know what this meant back in the 80s when he told me this one. Well, this is probably more 90s. I don't know what he meant by that. Then I thought I knew what he meant by that. Then when I got a little older, I found out it wasn't what I thought it meant. Again, his advice was, always take extra rubbers with you, even if it's not raining. Get your mind out of the gutters. You know what he was talking about. Yes, you do. Now, number 4. Never carry 2 lanterns at the same time. Never carry 2 lanterns. Lanterns. Did I say that right? That sounds weird. Lanterns. I said this too many times. Never carry 2 lanterns. You know, it's like a light on it and everything. Lantern. I don't know. I've said it so many times now it sounds weird. Never carry 2 lanterns at the same time. I don't even know if you can still buy one. I don't even know if you can buy a lantern anymore. I don't know. Number 3. Don't ever leave the house without at least 2 shoehorns. Never leave the house without at least 2 shoehorns. Hopefully some of you guys know what a shoehorn. I know what a shoehorn is, and he did live by this advice because he always had 2 shoehorns with him, and they both had Zayres written on them. I don't know why. One was brown, one was blue, and they had Zayres. They must have been free at Zayres or something. But remember that if you're going out anywhere, don't go out without at least 2 shoehorns. Now, sadly, we're getting into, that advice right there was probably when I was in my 30s, and sadly, I think he passed away around 2005, and sadly, this is probably, close to that. Number 2, always remember to iron your grandma's bloomers. That's some advice I really didn't take with me. I don't even know how to iron anything. Some of you can tell that by some of the shirts I wear, but I've never ironed my grandmother's bloomers and never even touched her bloomers. Swear, I never touched her bloomers. Never. Trying them on, that's a different story. Never touched them. Number one, the last advice he gave me to live by. Last one. Remember, the moon ain't cheese, and neither is goat milk. The moon ain't cheese, neither is goat milk. If that's not some words to live by, I don't know what is. Man, that is some stuff to live. Hopefully some of these advices or quote, I don't know what you call them, maybe some of them originated with you and you can hey, that changed my life. Your grandpa was a wise man. Well, he was a wise man, I guess, but he didn't know much about Star Wars. I will say that. Crazy. Didn't know much about Star Wars. Could never get the droid's name right. Could never say C-3PO the right way. Anyway, that's some advice my grandpa gave me. 10 right there that I still think about or still use today, or maybe I just think about them and I don't even know what he's talking about. But like I said, different video. Not sure how this video is going to do. Not sure if you guys are going to click on this video or not. Hopefully you will. And don't forget, the podcast is now on Google Play, iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, wherever you get podcasts. You can listen to the Action Figure call-in show on a podcast near you. Check that out. Thank you. Finally, you have a voice. Well, thank you for watching. As always, subscribe to the channel. Thumb up so you like my content. And we'll talk again soon.
Hey, Junkman channel popping though.
Thank you, sir, for that unsolicited testimony.